In this video, I'll show you how to make a hand grasping system in Unity, which allows you to hold items and wrap your character's fingers around objects automatically. So I've opened up Unity and added my player model. Make sure your player model is rigged. Then go to Window, Package Manager, and in the Unity registry, search for Animation Rigging and download this package. After that, select your player model, go to Animation Rigging at the top and hit Bone Renderer Setup. This will show all the bones in your model. Let's make them easier to see. If your player has animations like I have, it will cause issues with the animation rigging. I want you to go to Animator panel and in the Layers tab, click on this tiny wheel in the base layer and take this check mark. And then create an avatar mask and name it Hand Mask. Open the Humanoid drop down and deselect right hand, and then in the mask field select this mask. First we need a basic arm rig. I'm gonna turn off the bone renderer for now. Select your character and go to animation rigging again. Select rig setup. This will add a rig builder to your player and a rig inside your player object. We'll name it hand grasp rig. Now create an empty object inside this rig and name it arm. Then add a toe bone IK constraint component to it. Now we need to assign these fields. So create another empty object inside arm. Name it hint. I will add a gizmo to see where this empty object is. Gizmos are helpful for positioning, and if you also want gizmos, you can put this script on any object. Position your hint behind your character's elbow. Maybe somewhere like here is good. Then in the arm object, we can assign the hint we just created. Now we also need a target, so create another empty object and name it hand target. Make sure it is inside the player object. We'll add gizmos to it as well. Position it about here and assign it to the target field. Now we need arm bones, so let's enable bone renderer again, and I want you to focus on these three bones. First select the upper arm bone and it will show you the bone game object. Assign this game object to the root field of our IK. Then select the forearm bone and assign it to the midfield. And lastly, select hand bone, make sure it says hand, assign it to the tip field. Now let's turn off bone renderer and test. So as you can see, our player is trying to reach hand target object. We can move it or even rotate it. Now that we have an arm rig, we can work on the finger wrapping. But first, duplicate the hand target and name it hand. Then run the game and set hand target position to where you want your pickup objects to be. Then copy the position of hand target, stop the game and paste the position to our hand object. Make sure it's hand object and not hand target. Now we can work on the fingers. So create another empty object inside arm, name it index finger 1. Add a multi-rotation constraint to it. Now duplicate the hand target, move it inside the hand target and rename it index finger target 1. We don't need gizmos on it. In the index finger, add a source object and assign the index finger target to the field. Select both the index finger and the index finger target. Duplicate 3 times. Select the last one and rename them from index finger 1 to middle finger 1 and middle finger target 1. Repeat this process until you have done all 5 fingers. Make sure to check if all of the fingers have corresponding target references. Now we need to assign each finger bone here. In some cases, your player model could have 4 finger bones, like I have, but most likely you will only find 3 of those bones working. So just ignore the one that is not working. As you can see, the 4th bone is not rotating anything, so I'm gonna ignore it and use the 3 that are working. So select index finger 1 bone game object and assign it in index finger 1 constraint field, and index finger 2 bone game object to index finger 2 and 3 to 3. Do this for all fingers like this. After that, I want you to parent finger 2 to finger 1 and finger 3 to finger 2. Do this for all fingers. So you'll have something like this. Now if we test, you can see that we can rotate the hand target and the finger targets. They are rotating the fingers and hands without any issues. So now that we have arm and fingers rig set up, we can finally work on the grasping system. So create 3 scripts: hand IK controller, grabbable object, and hand grasp data. And the hand grasp data script, first add this at the top, then make a serializable struct called finger rotation containing bone name and its rotation, and then make this struct an array called finger rotations. Then go to grabbable object script and make a hand grasp data variable, a transform variable called hand target, and also a quaternion variable called rotation offset. Then go to hand IK controller script, first add this at the top, and make a transform variable called hand IK target, a rig variable, a transform array called finger bones, a quaternion array called default rotations, and a grabbable object script variable called object to hold. This variable is only for testing and we'll remove it later. Now in the start method, we want to save our fingers default rotations into a variable. Then we will make a method to grasp object. For that we'll take grabbable object script. Now we need to move the hand IK target, which is our hand target, to the target of the item we need to hold. We also want to rotate it. Now we need to call a new method called apply grasp data and set the rig weight to 1, which is basically the slider. When it is 0, our hand is normal, and when it's 1, our hand moves to the target. So in our apply grasp data, create these two for loops and check if the bone names match, then we set each bone rotation correspondingly. Basically, we are matching names and applying rotations from grasp data fingers to our fingers. We also need to call this in update for testing. Now go back to Unity and I have this cube to test it on. I will need grabbable object script on it, and you can see it's asking for grasp data. So if you go to create then IK, you will see this new option called hand grasp data. So we'll create it and name it cube grasp data and assign it to the cube. Now we also need a target for each item. So let's create an empty object inside cube and name it hand hold offset. Assign this to the hand target field of cube. I'll add a gizmo to it for later. Add the hand IK controller script to our player. Now we need to assign all of these fingers to the finger bones array. But don't worry, here is a trick you can use. First select them like this. Right click and click select children. Now drag all of them onto the array. There you go, I saved you 2 whole minutes. Assign the hand target inside the player to the hand IK target field and the hand grasp rig to the rig field. We'll also assign our test cube here for testing. Now in the cube grasp data we created, you need to add 15 finger rotations and name each of them the exact same as they are here, like this. Now run the game and adjust the handhold offset of cube like this. And in the cube grasp data you can set the values, and don't worry, these values will remain same even after getting out of play mode. So as you can see, I have set up these values for cube. Before you get out of play mode, first copy the handhold offset game object's position, then get out of play mode and paste the position again. Now we need a method to release object. We just need to set each finger rotation to its default rotation and set the weight back to 0. And make sure to set the hand grasp rig weight to 0 in inspector. Now that we have grasping system, we can work on the pickup system. I have made a simple player move and look script to test pickup system. So first let's create a pickup script and put this script on our camera. Then in this script, make a pickup range variable, a camera variable, a boolean variable, and a transform variable for hand. In the start method we assign camera, and in the update method we check if player press E. Send ray to where we are looking at. We check if object has pickup tag. If we are not already holding something, then we pick up the item. Make sure you add pickup tag to the cube. In the pickup item method, first we move the item object inside our hand. Let's make some variables for storing the item components. Then we need to move our item to our hand and also rotate it by using the hand rotation and rotation offset, which we can use if a certain object has weird rotation. We also need to make IK controller script variable. Using that, we'll call the grasp function. Since we are also using rigid body, we need to make sure our items doesn't use gravity or move around. Now let's make a method to release object, in which we simply need to move the item out of our hand, add physics again, and set everything to null. We'll call the release object method when player press G. So let's go back to Unity, and in the pickup script we need to assign our hand to the hand field and our player to the IK field. Now let's test this, and as you can see, we can pick up and drop item. We'll add this bool and this variable for every time we need to set up a new item. Now how do we add more items to pick? This is easy. Let's say I want to hold this flashlight. First, make sure it has pickup tag, rigid body, and a grabbable object script. Then we need to make an empty object in each item named handhold offset, which basically allows us to add offset in position. Assign this handhold offset to the hand target field. Then make flashlight grasp data. I recommend duplicating the previous one so you don't have to write all target names again. Let's reset these values and assign this hand grasp data to the flashlight, and put the flashlight in the testing variable and enable this boolean so we can set the values in our hand grasp data. Now let's run the game, and you can see the flashlight does not have right direction. So let's see which rotation is good for it. And it looks like changing its rotation to Y180 fixes the rotation. So let's stop the game, and in the flashlight we have rotation offset. We can set Y180 here, and now if we test, you can see it's correct now. Now we can set the handhold offset rotation and position like this, and also set up the flashlight grasp data, and it looks good. Before we get out of play mode, let's copy the changes we made on handhold offset and then paste them again out of play mode, and make sure we turn it off again, and that's all. Now we can hold objects and it will automatically check grasp data and adjust accordingly. This tutorial was a little complicated and some of you might need to watch it again, but if it worked, then hit that like button, and I'll create a video on the automatic version of it, which does not require any grasp data and procedurally wraps hand around object. Until then, see you in the next video.